The email came while I was polishing a brass bookmark for my mom's birthday, a delicate thing I'd engraved with her favorite poem, The Road Not Taken. It was a humid August evening in Raleigh, the kind where the air sticks to your skin and cicadas scream outside my loft window. I was 33, a UX designer for a tech startup I'd helped scale, living in a space I'd carved out piece by piece. Exposed brick, thrifted art, a life I'd funded with 12-hour coding days and no one's help. The email was from Dad. Subject, Family Dinner Sunday. We need to discuss something important. No mention of my birthday, no warmth, just a summons. Sunday dinner at my parents' Cary suburb home was a ritual. Same linen tablecloth, same meatloaf, same tension masked as small talk. My younger brother, Leo, 29, was already there, slouched in his chair, scrolling TikTok, his new sneakers gleaming. Mom, Linda, fussed over the salad. Dad, Greg, sipped his beer, eyes on the TV. The air felt staged, like they'd rehearsed their lines. I sat, the bookmark wrapped in my bag, waiting for the script to unfold. Mom started, her voice too bright. "Clara, you've done so well for yourself." A pause, then the pivot. "Leo's been struggling, with his music career. We think he needs a fresh start." Dad cleared his throat, cutting in. "Your loft's big enough for two. Leo's moving in with you next week." Not a question, a decree, delivered like they were assigning me a chore. Leo smirked, not looking up. "It'll be chill, Clara. You won't even notice me." I stared at the meatloaf, my fork still. "My loft?" I said, voice low. Mom nodded, eager. "You're so stable, sweetheart. You can handle it." Stable, the word they'd weaponized for years, code for "you owe us." I felt their eyes, waiting for resistance they could call selfish. Instead, I smiled, thin and sharp. "If it helps, Leo, sure." Mom exhaled. Dad grunted approval. Leo's smirk widened. They thought I'd folded. They didn't know I'd sold the loft 3 weeks ago, or that I'd never let them rewrite my life again. I grew up in Durham, in a split-level house with creaky floors and a backyard swing. Mom was a paralegal. Dad sold insurance. Leo was the star, charismatic, loud, the kid who'd strum a guitar at family barbecues and get applause for half-finished songs. I was Clara, the quiet one, coding in my room, winning hackathons, fixing their Wi-Fi. Leo's C in history got him a new skateboard. My valedictorian speech got a "that's nice, honey." At 19, I got a scholarship to NC State, worked nights designing apps to cover books. Leo dropped out of community college, chased gigs, lived rent-free at home. I didn't mind. His dreams were loud, mine were steady. But then it started. At 22, Leo's van broke down. I loaned him $1,500. He never repaid. At 24, Mom called, teary. Leo's band needed studio time. I sent $3,000. No thank you, just a Venmo request months later for gear. At 27, Leo got evicted. Dad asked me to co-sign his lease. I did. He defaulted. My credit score tanked. When I said no to bailing him out of a bar fight last year, Mom called me heartless. "Leo's trying, Clara. You've always had it together." Together? Like my life wasn't a tightrope I'd walked alone? I stopped visiting as often, dodged their calls, said, "I'll see," instead of yes. They noticed, and the guilt trips sharpened. "You're too busy for family," Dad said. Busy, or just tired of being their ATM. I bought my loft at 30, a corner unit with skylights and a view of downtown. I paid every bill, hung every shelf, made it mine. But to them, it was ours when Leo needed a stage. When I saw Dad's email, I knew what was coming. I'd already contacted a realtor, sold the loft quietly, and moved to a rental in North Hills. Smaller, cheaper, mine. I didn't tell them, not out of spite, but survival. When your family only loves your utility, you learn to guard your doors. The texts began Monday. Leo's packing. Can he bring his amp? We'll drop his stuff Saturday. He's stoked for a fresh start. I didn't reply. Each message assumed I'd clear space, absorb Leo's chaos, smile through it. They'd done it before. Pushed, guilted, won. Not this time. By Friday, Mom was texting hourly. Need your key code for the movers. Leo says he'll keep it low-key. You're a lifesaver, Clara. I sipped my coffee, let the messages pile, and waited. Saturday, I left my rental at dawn, drove to a bookstore, bought a novel I didn't read. My phone buzzed. 4 missed calls, 2 voicemails. I played the first. Mom's voice high and frayed. Clara, what's happening? There's a woman at your loft. Says she owns it. Says you moved out. Call me. The second, Dad, gruff. This isn't funny, Clara. Leo's stuff is in the truck. Where are you? I turned off the ringer, bought a latte, and walked through a park, the sun warm on my face. At noon, I answered Mom's 5th call. Clara, she snapped, breathless. A stranger's in your loft. She says you sold it. What's going on? I kept my voice even. I did sell it, weeks ago. Silence, then Dad's voice, loud. You lied to us. You said Leo could move in. I said, if it helps Leo, sure. I didn't say where. I don't live there anymore. Mom's voice cracked. You didn't tell us. You didn't ask, I said. You decided. I pictured them on the loft steps, Leo's boxes, Mom's flushed face, Dad's clenched jaw, the new owner, a professor I'd met at closing, confused but firm. What are we supposed to do? Mom asked, small now. That's not my question to answer, I said, and hung up. They thought I'd rush in, fix it, like always, but I was done carrying their weight. By evening, I knew they'd find me. Mom was relentless, a bloodhound for obligation. At 7:14 p.m., the knock came, 3 hard raps on my rental's door. Through the peephole, Mom, Dad, Leo, a U-Haul idling behind them. I opened the door, leaning against the frame. You tracked me down, I said, voice flat. Mom's eyes were red, her purse clutched tight. Clara, this is unacceptable. You humiliated us. Dad stepped forward, voice low. You let us think Leo could stay. Now he's got nowhere to go. Leo, arms crossed, glared. Real classy, Clara, screwing me over like this. I didn't blink. I sold my loft because it wasn't mine anymore. Every time you needed something, it became yours. I moved to breathe. Mom's lip trembled. We're family. Family asks, I said. You ordered. Leo scoffed. You're so dramatic. It's just a place to crash. I turned to him, calm but cold. Crash? Like your van, your lease, your band? I paid for all of it, Leo. You didn't even say thanks. Dad raised a hand. Enough. You owe your brother this. Oh, the word they'd carved into me. I picked up my phone, dialed. What are you doing? Mom asked, alarmed. I didn't answer. 3 rings, then 911, what's your emergency? My family's at my door, refusing to leave, I said, loud enough for them to hear. They're not on the lease. I'd like assistance. Leo's eyes widened. You're calling the cops? Mom gasped. Clara, no. Dad swore, stepping back. I asked you to leave, I said. You didn't. The dispatcher took my address. Leo kicked a box, muttering, This is bullshit. Mom grabbed my arm. You're breaking us. I pulled free. You broke me first. A patrol car arrived in 8 minutes, lights flashing. The officer, a woman with a no-nonsense braid, assessed the scene. You were asked to leave, she said to them. Dad sputtered. She's our daughter. And this is her home, the officer replied. You need to go. Leo grabbed a box, stormed to the U-Haul. Mom grabbed my arm. You're please. I shook my head. I'm not your fix anymore. They drove off, taillights fading into the dusk. The next morning, my phone was a battlefield. 15 missed calls, texts from mom. How could you? Dad, you've gone too far. Cousins I hadn't seen in years. Leo's homeless because of you. Then the Facebook post, Mom's magnum opus. We raised Clara to love her family, but she's chosen selfishness. Leo deserved better. Comments poured in, heartless, spoiled, shameful. I didn't flinch. I posted a response, no hashtags, no drama. Screenshots, the $3,000 I sent for Leo's studio, the co-signed lease default, the lawyer fees I covered, the loft sale contract. The texts where Leo called me backup plan when I refused his last bailout. My caption, I didn't abandon my family. I stopped paying for their mistakes. I turned off notifications and sat in the silence. That night, my rental was quiet, just the hum of a fan and the breathing clink of my teacup. I sat on the roof, Raleigh's skyline winking faintly below. A neighbor waved, I waved back, simple and real. No family photos hung in my new place, just a sketch I'd drawn, a house I'd design one day, all light and open doors. I blocked Mom, Dad, Leo, not with anger, but with quiet certainty. Some bridges don't need burning, they crumble under their own weight. Clara Voss Designs launched a month later, my own UX firm, lean and fierce. First client, a local cafes app. Second, a women's nonprofit site. I hired Sam as a partner, his laughter filling our rented office space. At night, I'd code, the bookmark on my desk, a reminder of roads I'd chosen not to take. They thought they'd written me out, but I'd built a new story, one where I was the author, not the shadow. If you've ever been used until you faded, drop one word below, free.